With that, I turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, and thank everybody for inviting me. It's an honor and a pleasure. I was afraid to do it because of my baby here. And she said, Mom, I've been listening to you all my life. So she doesn't have to worry about you talking. And so she gave me the okay to do it. And so I'm happy to be with you all, everybody. Oh, my speech is something terrible. But I'm going to try. I got new teeth in my head. That's my problem. But I'm spitting on everybody, but I'm talking. My name is Liz. I'm a grateful alcoholic. I had my first drink at 12 years old. I have never seen my mother drink, but my mother made rice wine out of ingredients from the welfare. And she left me at 12 years old to sieve this white rice wine through cheesecloth. And at 12, I sieved and I sipped. I sieved and I sipped. And I put on a drunk at 12 that was a drunk. I had to be padlocked into a side bedroom hall. And I was locked up in there. I come out and my head is laying in vomit. And that's the story of my life, of my head always laying in vomit. And the guilt and the remorse almost kill me. To think that this was always going to happen when I drank. Then at the age of 14, I began to sell King Kong booze. You better believe it was King Kong. It stood you straight and it knocked you down too. And again, I bought it from a man next door who made it in the bathtub. And again, I sold it for 40 cents a cream pitcher. Again, I'm locked up in a room, drunk. So one day I'm laying out the window. I live one flight up. And I see this good-looking guy. Oh, God, he was so good-looking, I almost fell out the window. And then he had a roll of money. I said, whoa, there's a live one. I got a live one. And I ran down and latched onto him. He lived downstairs. And it was a $5 bill around a lot of ones. I don't care. He's a live one and he's cute. And so I started to go from uptown Manhattan to lower Manhattan and give them a play, the joints down there play, and then they'd come up and give me a play. At the age of 14, I wanted to marry him, and my mother wouldn't sign. So I waited till I was 17 with him, and we went to Baltimore, Maryland, January 3rd, 1939, and we were married in the courthouse by Reverend Harris. And I'm crying through the whole marriage, and the minister stopped it. He says, why are you crying, young lady? I said, well, at last I got him. Well, I'm very sorry to say, but Mr. Bailey never stopped crying after that. That was a sorry day when he said, I do to Liz Ulrich. Now, I'm an interracial child. My father is a white Dutchman, came from Dutch Guiana, South America. And my mother is a black Indian woman with a gray patch in the middle of her head, came from Durham, North Carolina. And that was the worst thing that could happen to me. Because at that time of life, 1939, nobody was accepting black and white mixed together. I've watched the cops beat my father many a time. I've watched him come out of Mother Cabrina dressed like a mummy many a time. I lay out the window and play chicky if I seen my mother coming down the street. I'd get my drunken father up off the floor and get him out before he wouldn't get another beating. So here I am now, I'm married, I'm drinking, and I'm wondering if I have a baby that'll stop me from drinking. So I got pregnant and I had a baby boy. And the minute that baby went, give me a drink. So I said, well, I'll have another one to keep him company. So I had another baby, and the minute he went, give me a drink. So the babies didn't even stop me from drinking. Watching me go down. And then now I'm doing things in blackouts that I don't know. And people are telling me what I've done, what I've
Don't worry. Go ahead.
what I've said or done. And so again, I think they're lying on me. So here I'm now lying, cheating, ducking, dodging, conniving to stay drunk. I'm going to come up to my last drink because the rest of my life was such a mess. I mean a mess. I watched me go down. And I remember this lady was coming to visit me to sell some insurance for the house. Mrs. Lindbaum was her name. And I really wanted to see Miss Lindbaum. So what did I do? I made salads, straightened up the house. But now I'm drinking with people in the VFW hall on 110th and Merrick Road. Hard two-fist drinkers. I could never stand anybody who sipped a drink and went home. That got on my nerves. So here now, the phone rings. And I heard the guy's voice and I banged the phone up on him. He called me back the second time. I says, man, don't bug me. I'm expecting company and I'd like to stay and see them. I banged up the phone the second time. I remember going to the store around the corner and coming back. This is so many years ago that I can even remember this. And he called me the third time. He said, Liz, do me a favor. Hop a cab. I'll introduce you to the people. I'll put you back in the cab and I'll send you home to your company. I said, well, let me do that because he's going to drive me up the wall today. I did. I got the cab. I went over to the post, put money in the jukebox, and I'm singing, you always hurt the one you love, the one you don't want to hurt at all. Give me another drink. Smile if you're happy. Give me another drink. Well, I'm 98 years old and I haven't seen Miss Lindbaum till yet. I done forgot what the lady looks like. I don't know if she's still alive or dead or what. But I woke up in one of my son's twin beds. And at the foot of this bed stood my mother and my husband. And my mother was screaming to the rooftops. Somebody done something to her. Somebody done something to her. And my husband turned to her and he said, no, Mom. She happens to be a very sick girl. Ooh, he didn't call me B, which was my name. And you know what B stands for. And so I got up out of that bed and I went to the basement of the house and I stayed in the basement for 2 days praying to die. I wanted out. I'm now sitting between two cribs crying because I do not want to be a drunken mother. And so finally, when Mr. Bailey pulled me aside one day. He said, "You're the nicest wife when you're sober, but drunk you're a Jekyll and a Hyde. Why don't you try this program? And when you desire a drink, pick up the phone, call somebody, and let somebody talk you out of the drink." Well, I cursed Mr. Bailey out, and I told him what to do with AA. Well, honey, let me tell you, he never mentioned the program again to me. He went on about his business. And 8 to 10 months later is when I'm down in this basement crying. "Oh God, oh God, oh God, please help me." And my oldest son is sitting there at that time. And my oldest son, I told him, "I can't live this life like this. This is not the life I want to live. I'm going to go up on the Long Island Railroad. I live 3 blocks from the railroad. And I'm going to jump in front of a train." And that's when I really started crying out to God to help me. And something told me, "Try this program that your husband told you about." I said, "Your father," to my son, though. I took the telephone book down off a cabinet. I called up the program. And at that time, they used to send people out to you when you called for them. But they didn't have anyone. And first, they didn't want women in the program. They tried to leave them out. They tried to leave them stand outside the doors of the meetings all the time. And so what happens is that 2 women from California got together and they fought for us women to be in the program. That's how I got in the program. So finally I called and this woman talked to me. And I said, "Oh my God, she sounds just like me. She's telling my story." And so what did I do? Since she didn't have anybody, I got the address, which was in Manhattan. And I got my hair done. I bought a 2-piece blue suit. And I went to Manhattan. And I had a hard time getting up the stairs to that meeting in Manhattan. But a lady came to the door and she looked down at me on the steps. And she said, "Are you having trouble?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." And I started to run up to her. Excuse me. And she escorted me in the front part of the office. Excuse me. And she started to tell me about herself. And she suggested 2 meetings. Hold it a minute again. I'm sorry. I think I'm getting emotional talking the story over. And so when I went to the meeting, 2 girls behind the coffee counter looked up at me. And I said, "You don't look like an alcoholic." I said, "Well, what are you talking about?" And I started running out of the meeting. And the guy came up and hit me over on the left shoulder. And he was screaming at me. He says, "Where are you going? What's the matter with you?" I said, "I'm about to lose my mind, my home, my children. I'm about to lose everything through drinking." He said, "Have a seat, sweetie. You in the right place." July the 11th, 1952, It was the last time I had a drink. And I've been sitting in these rooms all the time. I moved to Boston to live with my daughter because I got so. I'm 98 years old now. 98! And I'm still making my meetings because I'm never going to be cured. It's no cure for it. No cure. And I had better sit at these meetings if I want to live. August the 15th, I'll be 99 years old and my motor is still running. And I'm going to keep going to my meetings. And anytime, like Chris rather, asked me to share, I said yes. I've been saying yes for 98 years. And I'm not going to say anything but yes. And my daughter gave me the answer when I said, I don't want to tell my dirty story in front of you. She says, I've been listening to it all my life. So that's why I didn't turn Chris down. Because she's heard it before. And I wouldn't be living today if it wasn't for her. She is 64 years old. That's my baby. And my oldest one that's still living, he is 80 years old. The other two, one got shot and killed. One...
Yeah, Lou Gehrig's disease. Lou Gehrig's.
Lou Gehrig's he died with. So I have two children left, 80 and 64. And they're beautiful. I have over 30-some grandchildren and great-grands. I see them by appointments only. There's too many of them. But they're beautiful. They're beautiful. They're gorgeous kids. And I love them. And they love me back. They have never seen me drunk. Isn't that marvelous? Never seen their nanny drunk. Mm-mm. And they will never fear. Because no matter what happens to me, I'm not picking up a drink of any kind. I have to watch mouthwash. I have to watch all things that I take to my mouth. I used to go around people who was making believe they were drinking by sparkling stuff. I stopped going around them. I have to watch my company. I can't deal with everybody. I still do 12-step work, and when I can, I was taught very good by real old-timers. I want to take this opportunity to thank Joyce R. for making a call to my daughter, watching out for me. It was Joyce R., wasn't it?
Yes.
I want to thank another Joyce. I left a group that I reopened, and she has been keeping that group going for over 50-some years. I want to thank her for keeping that group open. 2 priests called me to open a group. I opened up 2 more groups. I've opened up 4 groups in my sobriety. They're all over 50-some years ago, and they're still going. I opened up a clubhouse because I love to dance. And the building used to look like it was coming down with the building shaking from dancing. But thank God it didn't. We reinforced the building and everything. And it's all back in Long Island that this happened. And it's still going on. They're still in there dancing on Friday and Saturday night. You don't get sober to drop dead. You get sober to live. And live a good life. I got to tell all you women something. Today, I stand tall with dignity. And it's a good feeling from the old me. The old me was terrible, fighting, cursing. I was pulled in front of a judge one day and he asked me, "Do you drink, Miss Bailey?" I said, "Yes, I do. 2 beers." And my tenant had taken me to the courthouse because I was ready to stab her with an open soda bottle. That's why he asked me, did I drink? And he told her to please move out of my house, and she did. But I was a bad drunk. I was a very bad drunk. And I'm so happy that none of my grandchildren have ever seen me drunk. None of them. And there's over 30 some of them. How many we counted?
More than 30.
I know a lot. But I'm still going. And I want to thank you, Chris, for being part of my sobriety. I cherish my sobriety. I'm so grateful to get up and wake up and say the God that I found. And the big book tells you and I to find a higher power of your choosing and find him or her now. Don't wait for a higher power. Get one. And he's right there. I wanted to talk to my daughter the other day. She lives up in the front of my apartment and I'm in the back. And I didn't want to call out to her for the fact that other people are sleeping in the apartment. My grandson, great-grand, and his wife is here, and all of them are here in this apartment with me. And so what happened is that I asked God for my daughter, and here she comes walking down the hall. This again proves to me that there is a God. I've gone up and had cancer. And the doctor looked at me and he says, "I'm giving you 6 months to live." And I said to him, "You're not giving me anything." He says, "Why you talk like that?" I said, "Because I live one day at a time. I'm now over 50 some years an arrested cancer patient. The doctor's dead, not me. Doctor's gone, honey. Been gone. Right after telling me that. I've had 12 operations. I should be dead. But my motor is still running. I'm still running my big mouth. And I'm still traveling. But we haven't been able to travel now since February because of the disease. But I'm making myself happy in my beautiful room that my daughter made for me and my son-in-law. I have to tell you, they treat me like a queen. They're beautiful to me. The best of food, the best of clothing. They wash and cook and do everything for me. My daughter even gave me a bath yesterday, put me in the tub. What more can I ask for at 98? August the 15th, I will be 99 years old. And I hope my motor's still running. I want to tell every one of you that I love you. Because without you, there would be no me. You cannot do it without a fellowship. You cannot. I don't care who you are. Because we got built-in forgetters too quick, too quick. And we have to constantly be giving it away to keep it. I can't keep this just sitting here. Isolation is bad for anybody. Sitting alone. I even put it out in the air over the years. Don't ever let an alcoholic sit alone at a meeting. Don't ever. Go over and speak to he or she. Put your hand out. Put your arm around them. We need love. Love is the answer. And I've received so many loves and gifts, and my mind is blowing with it. Just from exposing myself to the truth and go out and give it away. I've covered all of Canada from one end to the other. I've covered all of the United States, from California back to this, up to this, where I'm at now even. I was up here 30 years ago talking up in Boston. I'm back here living now with my daughter. They came to the apartment to get me, where I had a room and kitchenette. And I burned up 2 pots, falling asleep looking at TV. And I was 63 years sober at the time. And so they moved me in with them. It's the best move I could ever make. Because at 90-some years old now, I wouldn't want to live alone. I wouldn't want it. But I love you guys and girls. Oh my God, do I love you. And I used to tell you that all the time. And one guy winked at me one day. I said, I'm not going to bed with you. But I said, I love you. That's a different kind of love I got. From the heart. From the heart, I love every one of you. I want you to come to the fellowship and find a beautiful life. A beautiful life.
Hey, do you know where the wood?
I had the honor and privilege of speaking for Bill Wilson, the founder of our group. And he wrote a nice thing in the big book and he presented to me. Dearest Liz, you're a magnificent demonstration for the fellowship. Love always, Bill. I cherish that book. I don't bring it out because if you turn your head, it's gone. And I don't want to lose it. It's in my bookcase. The pages have turned yellow. I spoke for his 28th anniversary. Hotel Commodore, 2,700 people that night. And it was beautiful. Now, I had time to speak for Al-Anon. The Al-Anons did not like me because I was always talking about Mr. Bailey. And so some of them would invite me, but some of them didn't. But I'm still with Al-Anon if they call me. And they can hate me all they want because that's their problem, not mine. I love them. I love them because I love them to come in to find out how to live with a drunk and not put a drunk down. I'm going to tell you about a guy down in the hole. He called doctors to get him out of the hole, nurses to get him out of the hole, friends, family. Name anybody you can was trying to get him out of the hole. And I come along and I jump down the hole with him. And the drunk looks at me and he says to me, why did you jump down here with me? Don't you see me trying to get out? I said, give me a hand. Give me your hand. I was down here once myself. And I'll show you the way out. And that's what we do for one another. Show each other the way out of the hole. And what a life. The life will get so good and scare you. You never dreamt. I never dreamt that I could live this good. But I believe my God, whom I found, whom I choose to talk to every day. I get up talking to God. Good morning, God. Good morning, sweet Jesus. Good morning, Holy Spirit. Thank you for guiding me. And good morning, Mother Mary, the best mother in the world. And I'm living now. August the 15th, I'll be 99 years old. Right?
Yep.
Isn't that amazing? All through the fellowship. Not doing it alone. And don't be ashamed. It hits you from Yale and jail, Park Avenue to Park Bench. Alcoholism hits anybody. It doesn't care who you are. And come on in with your head up and shake somebody's hand and start living a beautiful life for yourself. Chris, I can't thank you enough. I can't thank God enough for allowing me to share some of this mess with you. And I thank God again for all the grandchildren I have. I don't go around them because of this disease. They don't want older people around the children, so I don't. But I thank all of you for listening to me today. And I hope I went long enough. My daughter said I did okay. I look for the approval of her. And I thank you all very much. Take my love with you, please. Mention anything I say you want to say to help you live a better life. It's out there. I'm in it. And I love it. Thanks again.
Very much, Liz.